Hey there geeks and geekettes, we're here to talk about The Boys. This is my non-spoiler review. I don't know if I'll do a full spoiler review for this because it would take hours. There was so much in this show. So yeah, stay tuned for a review. Okay, so the Boys started out as a graphic novel or comic book run by one of my favourite writers, Garth Ennis. Got the original one here. As you can see, this guy looks a lot like Simon Pegg. So the TV show is similar to the novel and the comics, but there are some massive differences. So basically, Boys is a new Amazon Prime series that dropped on the weekend, and it's awesome. You'll really enjoy it. It's not anything like your typical superhero show, and because of that, it's all the better. So if you're sort of sick of the Marvel and DC shows, movies, then still want to watch something superhero-y, this is probably the right one for you. It's very dark. So The Boys was adapted for the screen by Eric Kripke. He's the guy that did Supernatural. Based on the comic books by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. It's an 8-part series or 8-episode series, and it's already been reviewed for season 2. Can't wait. They've set it up really well for season 2, but I won't get into that because there's definite spoiler territories. So I hurt my back last week, and this weekend I was kind of laid up, so sat there, I put it on, I was like, please be as good as the comics, and then I basically sat there for 8.5 hours and watched the entire thing beginning to end. Just one episode easily rolls into another, and it does make you or keep you wanting to watch more. So the premise is a character called Huey, played by Jack Quaid, is a salesman, and he witnesses the horrific death of his girlfriend, an accidental death, at the hands of a superhero called A-Train, played by Jesse Usher. A-Train is a Flash-like speedster, and he literally runs through Huey's girlfriend. You'll see this in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. It's quite graphic, and I laughed. I shouldn't have laughed, but I laughed. It was a really funny, dark moment. So yeah, A-Train works for a corporation, and they work sort of quickly to cover up the incident, and they try to silence Huey with a bribe or a payoff, but it doesn't work because this guy, he's distraught, he's beyond angry. He's sort of a nice guy, but this pushes him. Huey is then approached by my favourite character of the series and my favourite character of the books, and Billy Butcher. Billy Butcher is played brilliantly by Carl Urban. You'll know Carl Urban from Dread, Thor Ragnarok, Ghost Ship he was in, the Bourne trilogy, he was in one of those. Obviously great actor. So yeah, he plays a British man with a serious deep-rooted hatred for soups, and they don't let you know why straight away, but he's angry at the superheroes and super-powered people. So he basically approaches Huey and enlists him in his takedown operation, which sort of exposes Huey and traps him in this strange, violent new world, the world of the Boys. There's a few other members of the Boys. Frenchie, he's a very effective member of the Boys, sort of half poet, half psychopath. He sort of seems to be the munitions expert and almost a chemist. He's a really funny character, really took to him as well. In fact, the humans, there wasn't a character that I disliked. They were all cool. I mean, even Billy being horrible, he's a likeable character because there's a reason behind him. They also have a newcomer called The Woman. And Frenchie's relationship with the woman is worth watching. She's a mute and she's very, very violent and hiding some things of her own that come out to play shortly after discovering her. You'll have to watch that because it is brutal. And Mother's Milk, big guy, big heart, and to me he's the conscience of the group. And with the younger members, he almost takes a father figure role to them. But him and Frenchie absolutely hate each other, and it leads to some great comedy. This isn't a comedy show by any stretch. It's got some comedy in there, but even that comedy is very black and very dark. It's a lot of black humour in there. Really enjoyed the sort of the banter with the guys. Probably the best thing about the boys is its willingness to blur the moral lines between the heroes and the villains, because they both step into some dark grey areas. But basically the show treats the humans and the superheroes, or the heroes and the villains, as humans, and it treats them as complicated humans, and instead of like a superhero caricature, which, yeah, there's a bit of that in there, but for good reason, and we'll get into that a bit later. So I said about the corporation. A corporation is like a towering glass of steel high-rise building, and it's a superhero enterprise run by a corporation called Voight. The head is played by Elizabeth Shue, and she basically manipulates the superheroes for her own ends. She manipulates the press and everything. Monetary gain, power. The superheroes try to manipulate the press and the regular public. Basically, she manipulates this team called the Seven, and the Seven are almost like this universe's version of the Justice League or the Avengers. These are top tier superheroes. So the team includes A-Train, we mentioned before, and then there's a Captain America Superman hybrid called Homelander, played by Anthony Starr. There's a Wonder Woman-esque character called Queen Maeve, played by Dominique McElliott, and a character called The Deep, which is an Aquaman copy. Some of the comedic elements to this character are really funny. They're meant to be funny, but for him as a character, it's unintentionally funny. He's not a very nice guy, but he genuinely loves sea life because of his powers and what have you. And it leads to some really fun. There's a sequence with him and a dolphin, and you've got to watch it because it's a horrible sequence, but I really laughed at it. Added to them then is a new recruit that we see coming in by the name of Starlight. What was her real name? I can't remember her real name. The actress's name is Erin Moriarty. She plays an honest, well-intentioned young superhero, somebody that's coming into the group, seeing what the media have portrayed them to be, and believes that's what she will become through them. The Seven is sort of what you attain to be if you have these sort of powers. And she's not yet jaded by the corporation. She's very naive and new. She hasn't seen the greed. Now, there are things that happen to her within the Seven where she quickly realises they're not what they're set up to be. And this happens early on, so it's mild spoilers if something happens early on involving the Deep. It's horrible to watch. They don't show too much, so it's not like uncomfortable, but you know what happens. And at least it was toned down from what happens in here, because it's a step above in this. If you haven't read this, go and read it. It is brutal. I mean, the artwork on the back there sort of tells you everything you need to know. So yeah, she joins the Seven, and obviously we've got your good guys, your bad guys, and then two people on either team in the middle. To me, The Boys was almost a dissection of our pop culture, and our pop culture superhero obsession. And while in their world the superheroes are real, the lure of sort of fame, cash and power, it does reduce them to villains, and not superhero villains. The human element of them, the greed, etc., turns them into villains, masquerading as heroes. It's not a bad thing in regards to the show, because it makes it really watchable. To me, it humanises the superheroes. It shows if the average person had all of this power and all of this backing behind them, and people silencing mistakes that they made, that they think they can get away with everything. So are they inherently evil? No, they've just been spoilt, I suppose. If you picture our world, Marvel and DC, with the merchandise, movies, theme park rides, probably Marvel theme parks in the near future, all of this is involved in The Boys, and that's how the superheroes are treated. They're almost treated like gods. They've got movies made about them that they self-star in, they play themselves in the movies, and basically every interaction that these superheroes have with the public and with the press are scripted. They're even scripted into which characters deal with what crimes, on figures and algorithms as to which duos work best, and team-ups earn more money. So yeah, it's dark. So the series is dark, it's bloody, it's brutal, but it's also got a lot of heart in it. Huey and Billy, their stories are sort of heart-wrenching stories. They're quite deep, and they played really well. And you do side with them, even though Billy's not a great person anymore, but you see what causes it, or you hear what causes him to be the way he is, and you can put up with it. He's not violent for violence sake. There's good reason behind it all. And this show does a good job of making you feel a little bit for the superheroes, because they're manipulated, and they're driven by business and ego. They're sort of given free rein. They're made too powerful by the media and by the company and by the public. So while all the character development in this show is top notch, it's all brilliant, to me there wasn't enough superhero stuff in there. We need to see more of the superheroes' powers and what they can do, because when they do show it, it's really good. The action scenes in this, they're incredible. I don't know whether it was a budget issue because it was the first season, but we really get to see Homelander fly, like sort of Superman style and all the rest of it. And I don't know if that's because of budget, but obviously when the action does kick in, it's full bore and really enjoyable. It's ultra violent, but it's very, very well done. A highlight is when he uses his sort of laser vision, the Superman-esque laser vision, literally cuts people in half, and you see all of it. The effects on it are brilliant. There's just not enough of it. There is a section where he takes a large group of people out, and it looks awesome. To me, there wasn't enough of it when it's a show about sort of superheroes. But the boys join in on the fun. They're not super powered, but the use of weaponry and explosives obviously takes a chunk out of the budget, and it's cool. There's a superhero and some explosives, sort of a trap really, and I won't go any further into it, but that scene It is really good. They're trying to work out how to kill a superhero with impenetrable skin, and they find a way, and it's great. But the whole thing was clearly paced. The only other bad thing, or a weak link, not a bad thing, because it was only a predictable element of the show, was the Huey and Starlight, the will they won't they narrative that's in every show and every movie. And it's only bad because of predictability, like I said, and thankfully it doesn't get in the way of the pacing of the 8-episode run. So as I said, this is spoiler free. I don't want to spoil the twists and turns of the show. I definitely won't spoil the ending, as this show is brand new, but go and watch it. Obviously binge the episodes in one sitting, and if it had been 4 or 5 episodes longer, I'd happily have sat there and watched those other 4 or 5 episodes and probably forgotten to eat or drink or something, you know. If I was to describe it to entice you to watch it, think of the adult themes of The Watchmen and almost mix it with Heroes. And you're kind of there. A very dark version of Heroes mixed in with a very... Watchmen was dark, so yeah, with Watchmen. I'd seriously 9 out of 10 grade for this. The only negative things I've already mentioned, and the other thing, and this is nitpicking just to find another negative to warrant a 9 out of 10, is Carl Urban's accent in this is awful. Sometimes he sounds English, other times he sounds like Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins, and other times he sounds like a New Zealander trying to pull off a British accent for fun. So that's really nitpicking, because the story's so engrossing you don't really notice it unless you're looking for the programme to review it, and now I've mentioned it, it'll probably bring it up for you. So go check out The Boys on Amazon Prime. It's all up there now. You can watch the whole thing in one go should you want to, and I'll guarantee you will. Go check out The Boys graphic novels. I mean, this is just part 1. I think I've got 4 of them. Yeah, I've got 4 graphic novels. I don't know if there's any more. I think that's the lot. I don't know if they're spin-offs. I probably shouldn't have put that back while I'm recording myself. So yeah, check out the books, check out the TV show. I'll have peppered some images through the video as we go in, probably this side of me now. So yeah, go and watch it. 9 out of 10, definitely worth the watch. Obviously spoiler free, and go and have fun with it, because this is really one of my favourite superhero shows. Definitely up there with Umbrella Academy, which I spent all day yesterday watching, and I didn't enjoy quite as much as this, but I may do a review on the Umbrella Academy because the ending saved it for me. The ending was really good. So yeah, that's my review. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to leave some comments below, I don't care if you like the video, dislike the video, get a conversation going. Go and support Mass Movement magazine. Go and watch The Boys. Go and read The Boys books. You'll enjoy it and you'll thank me. Okay, I'll catch you soon. Bye.